Okay, let's do a coilover, and this is the end goal. And I will do this in low poly style because it will end up in a low poly car. So we start from the beginning, and I will just wing it, the look, and let's just activate the short commands so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so let's start out by creating a cylinder, something like that, and make it have just 16 sides. Let's rotate it around X 90 degrees, and we can enter edit mode, and let's add a loop cut. Select this one, vertices, and delete, and press number 3 to face select and delete this face, back to number 1, and take this, press E, S, down, and then we actually want to add a modifier, and let's select the mirror modifier over Z, back to edit mode, and then we take activate clipping and take this E and Y. Great. And then I actually want to add 2 other loop cuts, one here and one here, and let's press Ctrl B to bevel them, and select this one, Alt, left click, Ctrl B, and let's bevel it. And we can select both of them. Oops, it's easier if you go with face select and press E and then Y. Something like that. And now we can add material because it will be easier. So we just add a black material. Let's make it black. Activate so we can see it. And then another material, let's just call it steel. And make it metallic and assign. Great. And now we can actually just apply the mirror modifier. Great. And I just want to rotate this because I like to work in that axis. I want to have it like this. Yes. Okay. So now let's add another cylinder. Scale it down. Drag it up. And G, X. And then we can face select this one, X, face, back to 1, G, Z. Let's just make up a shape here. And let's go something like this, and then we just pull it up. Maybe something like that. And press E, S, G, Z. We will try to round it off here. E, S, G, Z, and E, S, and E, Z. And then we can just add a loop cut. Oops, wrong. Ctrl R, up here. Select this. GG. Yeah. And now we can take this circle and press Shift D to duplicate it. Right click and P to separate it, the selection, and tab, select this one, back to edit mode, select everything, and then press E, Z, drag it up, maybe something like that, and E, S, E, Z, and E, S. We can look upon it from above. Let's see. Yeah, something like that. And EZ. And then we can try to shape it off. E, S, G, Z, ES, oops, GZ, ES, and then just drag it off, and EZ, and then we want to connect it to, then we can actually tab, select both of these parts, tab, select, oops, select that, no, Alt Z first, so we can see with X-ray mode. So Shift D to duplicate, drag it up in Z, Z down, and then we had something up here, select that, X, delete vertices. Okay, so tab, we can just, okay, so we need to select this one, take this one, press P, separate, and now we can take these two parts and use Ctrl J to join them. Okay, so now we can press tab again, and now we want to add parts that kind of hold the spring in place. So let's start out with a couple of loop cuts. I want some details also, so let's put on loop cut here, another one here, another one here somewhere, and another one here. You will understand soon what I'm doing. So press 3 to face select, oops, Alt, Alt, and then ES, and you can see it scale in Z as well. We don't want that, so Shift Z, and now we have something like this, and then we can select this one again on the faces and choose select, checker deselect, and just press ES, and you can see it's expanding in Z. We don't want that, so let's undo that and change from median point to individual origins. So press E now, and this is much better, and just press S to scale them down a little bit. And now we want to add more loop cuts, so let's press Control. We can actually turn off X-ray mode, Alt Z, Control R, add one here, and then we can take Control R, one here, Control R, and one here, and then we can take press face select, Alt that one, and Shift, oops, Alt left click here, and let's go up, Shift, Alt here, and now E S Shift Z, something like that, I think, yeah. And now we choose select, check deselect, so we can have more details, and press E. So something is wrong up here, so let's press Ctrl Z, and let's check the face orientation. Okay, something is wrong here. Press A to select everything, and then Shift N. So now everything is blue, and that's great because now all the faces in the same direction. Let's turn this off, and let's try to do this again. So select that and Shift Alt, yeah, and let's try to select the top one as well. Shift Alt left click, and now select, checker deselect, and just press E, yeah, and then S, just to scale just a little bit. Great. So let's add the spring. So let's select we can actually go to vertex select, Alt left click, Shift S, cursor to selected, and then let's press Shift A. Let's go up in object mode and then press Shift A, curve, and choose curve spirals and choose Archimedean. And it started down there. That was strange, but okay. Turns, maybe 8 turns. And then the height, maybe something like this. So let's move this up. Look upon it from the side. And I want the radius to be wider. And let's change the height even more. Whoops. And then let's move it up a little bit more so we see what we're doing. And I think actually I will press this part up later on so we can make it even higher. Yeah, something like that. And I think it's too many steps to be low poly, so let's drag them down, maybe just to 16. Okay, so the spiral, we can left click, so it's done. Let's select these vertices, press S, Z, 0. Okay, we need to change this to median point, S, Z, 0, yeah. And we can see this doesn't look natural, so G, Z. Yeah, something like that. And let's go up, look upon it from the side, and we can actually take more points, I think. Yeah, we can take even more. So S, Z, 0, G, Z. Yeah, that will work. Okay, so let's see, let's move it down a little bit like that, and let's scale it instead. It's not super important. GZ, yeah, something like that. And let's go to the curve properties here. So let's open up geometry, and the depth we can just, I don't want it to be, let's scale it up even more. Z, G down, S, G, Z. You get the idea. You can actually, it's almost easier if you just Alt Z and just move these instead. Then it will be exact. So tab, G, Z. Yep, great. It's a bit wide, but yeah, it's too wide, but it will work. And now it's time for materials. If you want to do that, let's just make this, yeah, let's make this green, no, red and metallic, and let's just select faces here and just make this steel. Yeah, something like that. So now it's time to add the bones and some functions to this coilover. And don't forget to save, so Control S. Okay, so let's add the bones so we can have some functions with this one. So let's tab 3, we can turn off X-ray mode, Alt Z, we can select Alt, and Alt. And I think we have duplicate. Yeah. Okay, so we have double faces here. So we need to delete those. X faces. Let's just test to select all vertices M by distance. Okay, they have become many duplicates. I don't know why. Let's try this for this one also. A, M by distance. Okay, I probably have accidentally duplicated it. And let's test this one also. No, maybe. No, this one is fine. Great. Okay, now I have a better part to work with. So we select this ring, Shift S, cursor to selected, is centered. Great. Look upon it from the side. Tab, Shift A, amateur single bone. Let's scale it up and RX, rotate it 180 degrees. We can go here and viewport display in front. Let's scale it up to here, I think. And then we can press tab. Let's do like this instead. We'll take this part. And I actually want edit mode, press 1, and I want this ring to be put the cursor in. So Shift S, cursor to selected, and now we can take this again, look upon it from the side, it's easier I think. Enter edit mode and then press Shift A, and we have another bone here. Let's select this one and G and Z and drag it up to here. Great. So let's set up the constraints for these bones. So we can start out by exit edit mode, and we can press while we have the bones selected, we can press Ctrl Tab to enter pose mode. And we can select this one, go to this bone constraint properties, not to be confused with this object constraint properties. So we select this one, add bone constraint, choose damped track, and I realize we don't have any names on the bones. So let's fix this. We go to this bone, and this is the bottom bone, and this is the top. Yeah. Okay, so now we try this again. So we select this lower bone, the bottom bone, bone constraint, amateur, and then the bone, the top. And then we select the top bone and do the same thing. So damp track, amateur, and then bottom. Great. So let's try it if it works. Select this bone. You can see they are always pointing at each other, so this is great. So time to parent the parts to the bones. Okay, so we exit pose mode by pressing Ctrl Tab. We select this part and then select the bone and then press Ctrl Tab. The bone is selected, press Ctrl P to the bone. Great. Ctrl Tab, enter object mode, select the top part. Select the bone, press Ctrl Tab to enter pose mode, select the top bone, Ctrl P, and the bone. And while in pose mode, let's try it out. We select this, and yes, it works. But as you can see, it kind of is completely wild. We don't want it to go this far. So we take it in this mode and add another constraint, so a bone constraint, and then let's add a limit distance, and we want it to be from the amateur and the top bone. So if we try it out now, G, and you can see we cannot pull it away anymore, but we can still go through the other part, and we don't want that. So Ctrl Z, go back, and now we take this bone, and G and Z, move up until it takes stop somewhere here, and then we add a bone constraint, limit distance, and we choose amateur, and we take the top bone, scroll down, and we change the clamp region to outside instead. So let's try it out. And it works just like we want to. Great. So Control Z, and we can just minimize those two. And we can just GZ, drag it down. So now to the tricky part. We want this spring to work. We want it not to deform when it gets compressed. So we want it to work like an ordinary spring. So let's take leave pose mode, Control Tab, and select this part, Tab. We can select this ring, Shift S, cursor to selected, and then we can leave edit mode, select this bone, enter Tab to enter edit mode, and press Shift A. Select this bone, rotate around X 180 degrees, and let's move it down G, and try to hit the center of the spring, and then we select the bottom of the spring and press GZ all the way down to the center of the bone. This one is a bit trickier, but yeah, I think this will be fine. And then we want to take this bone, to have this small bone as a parent, so press Ctrl P and choose Keep Offset. So if we now try, select the bone, Ctrl Tab, Pose Mode, G, and we can now see that the big bone is folding the small bone. So this is correct. And we take the big bone, and we want this to have a stretch to, and we want this to stretch to the amateur and the bottom bone. So let's try it out. Select this part, and we can see, yep, it is compressing itself. So this is great, but you can see it's also changing its size. This is not great. So Control Z, select this bone again, and we want maintain volume. We don't want it to deform in any axis, so let's just press none, and this should just work. Yeah, great. So now let's attach the spring to the big bone. So let's leave the pose mode by pressing Ctrl Tab. So select this bone and this spring, press Tab, press A, Ctrl H, hook, Tab, Control, whoops, select the bone, Control Tab. Great. But if we change the view, you can now see that it's kind of crazy. So, and we don't want that. So we can do a real easy constraint, and this is, we can press N, and we can open up edit, the item menu I mean, and we can actually lock all transformation on this bone in rotation, and we can set all this value to 0, and we can do the same. I just hold and drag the left button and take this one and drag, and let's just see that it still works as we want to. Yeah, because this doesn't do anything in this mode, but it's better to do it like this. And now I don't want it to move in X, so let's just lock X. Sometimes the axes are wrong, but this time it's actually correct. So now it only moves this way, and this is just what we want. And now we can select this bone, press H to hide it, and this bone, H to hide it. This is how we do a coilover, and this is how it works. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for when I build a whole car. I'm planning to do some kind of buggy and a pipe car in a way. Thanks for watching, and bye.